With the NHL playoffs coming to an end, teams have their eye on the market, hoping to find the missing piece to add to their rosters. The NHL's annual free agent market opens up on July 1st at noon, and there are some solid players available. So with that being said, here are the top 6 2023 unrestricted free agents. Matt Dumba. It feels like yesterday when the Minnesota Wild and Matt Dumba agreed to a 5-year, $30 million extension. Now Dumba, a right-handed defenseman in his prime, is skating toward the open market. No stranger to trade rumors, Dumba surely understands that GM Bill Guerin's cap space is extremely limited for the upcoming 2023-24 season when Ryan Suter and Zach Parise's buyout penalty jumps, and of course Matt Boldy's raise kicks up to $7 million. He should understand that the price for top 4 D-men isn't coming down, and with so few of them heading to unrestricted free agency, there will be options for Matt Dumba. GM Guerin held that he would not move Dumba mid-season unless it was for a comparable return. Multiple teams like Edmonton, Vancouver, and Ottawa all tried to make offers, but none of them came close to getting a trade done. And we wouldn't have done it, Guerin said post-trade deadline. Matt is playing too well right now, helping us out too much. The last month, he's been fantastic. Dumba is the only pending UFA defenseman who shoots right, skates 21 minutes a night, and is under 30 years old. Dodged another one, Matt Dumba told reporters on March 3rd as the deadline passed. It's where I want to be. I want to help this team. I definitely want to win. Despite mutual interest between the Minnesota Wild and Matt Dumba, the team cap space will likely force Dumba to try and win elsewhere. Tristan Jarry. Due to his young age and pedigree, Tristan Jarry is one of the most desirable pending free agents between the pipes. The Pittsburgh Penguins' #1 bounced back from a shaky 2020-21 outing and delivered a .919 performance in the 2021-22 season, boosting optimism for the final campaign of his 3-year bridge and first taste of the UFA life. Even in these cap-tight times, the best goalie available come July 1st typically gets paid handsomely. For example, Jacob Markstrom, Philip Grubauer, and Jack Campbell are goalies who cashed in recently on the UFA market. Jarry had preferred to not let negotiations linger through the season, but here we are. The soft-spoken goalie told reporters at training camp that he is hopeful a fresh contract will be signed before season's end. However, GM Ron Hextall was in no rush to take care of Jarry's business, waiting to see how he performed down the stretch. Tristan Jarry has never won a playoff series and admitted back in April that he was battling injury all season long. With Ron Hextall out of the picture, there's a new GM coming in, whoever that is, and they're going to have to face an intriguing call here. Considering Jarry's injury history and lack of big game success, such a deep commitment to the goalie feels risky and will likely see him get snagged by another team this summer. Alex Killorn. This is Alex Killorn's last shot at a hefty deal. Teams will be lining up around the block. Heck, there is already speculation that he could end up in Montreal. The Tampa Bay Lightning have already handed out raises to younger players like Anthony Cicarelli, Mikhail Sergachev, and Eric Cernak. Plus, Tampa really needs to sign a backup goalie and sort out the futures of the RFAs on their team. So where does this leave Killorn? Well, he's hot off a career-best 27-goal, 64-point season. That's more points than any other 2023 UFA, by the way. So does he decide to accept less than market value and play 1,000 plus games in Tampa and possibly get his sweater lifted up to the rafters? It's going to be a challenge, Lightning GM said. What helps us is that I know Alex loves it here. He wants to stay here. We'd love to have him here. He's coming off a career season and means so much to our organization, both on the ice and off the ice. With his future uncertain, Killorn admits on Locker Room Cleanout Day that the loss to Toronto hit a little harder. When asked about his contract and the following season, he said, "All season, it's something I thought about. Going forward, I'm not sure what's going to happen." Vladimir Tarasenko. In July of 2022, reports surfaced that Tarasenko had not rescinded his year-old trade demand. So it came as little surprise to see the pending UFA rented out to the New York Rangers well ahead of the trade deadline. "It's something we've been looking at for a while," said GM Chris Drury. "When the pieces started to come together, I didn't really see any reason to wait. The Rangers need to build with their young forwards and don't have the salary room to accommodate Tarasenko's next contract. So it's safe to say that the power forward was a pure rental who will be one of the most sought after wingers come July 1st when he'll seek a long-term deal. "My family was taken care of and I cannot say a single bad word about my time here," Tarasenko told New York reporters. "It's important to know you have a family too, so it's important to be set. Of course I want to play on a competitive team. I've been lucky enough to win one Stanley Cup and I want to win more if possible." Ryan O'Reilly. After nearly 5 seasons with the St. Louis Blues, Ryan O'Reilly was shipped to the Toronto Maple Leafs on February 17th in a 3-team trade involving the Minnesota Wild. The 32-year-old center is in his final season of the 7-year contract with an average annual value of $7.5 million. The St. Louis Blues prioritized locking up the next wave of Blues forwards Jordan Kyrou and Robert Thomas over its veterans during the summer of 2022, and O'Reilly agreed to set extension talks aside until mid-season. By then, it became apparent that GM Doug Armstrong would be selling. The O'Reilly move to the Leafs helped Armstrong recoup useful draft picks, while O'Reilly felt rejuvenated by a high spot in the playoff race and the potential for a Stanley Cup run with the Toronto Maple Leafs. When former Toronto Maple Leafs GM Kyle Dubas traded for O'Reilly, the parties did not discuss an extension. The chemistry between the Leafs and Ryan O'Reilly sparked quick, and the fans absolutely loved him. And O'Reilly even said he'd absolutely consider re-signing. "Going forward here, I have a lot to think about what I'm going to do, but this organization is incredible," O'Reilly said. "Obviously, you guys see the players that they have and such, but the people in the organization, every facet that's looked after, the strength training, the nutrition, everyone on the staff is just incredible and the best at what they do. It's such an amazing place. I'm so thankful I was brought into it." O'Reilly said he would always cherish his time with the Maple Leafs, but who knows if the organization is prepared to match competing offers. With Bo Horvat and Dylan Larkin already signing extensions in the middle of the season, O'Reilly should be the most coveted UFA center this summer, and the Blues have not closed the door on a potential return. As one of the game's premier two-way centers, the Selke-winning O'Reilly could point to Nazem Kadri's $7 million a year in Calgary as a high-end comparable. Where do you think O'Reilly ends up next season? Let us know in the comments down below, and while you're there, give us a like on this video. Patrick Kane. Patrick Kane's situation was arguably the most fascinating of any individual player in 2023. He was an amazing player with a horrendous team, massive trade, high expectations, and an underwhelming playoffs. Holding all the leverage, Kane orchestrated his emotional trade deadline deal to the New York Rangers. Extending the commitment beyond rental status would require Kane to take a severe pay drop. The deal with Kane and the Rangers was all about borrowing a big-time star for some big-time games in the spring. The Rangers already knew that past this year, it would be very difficult to keep Kane on their roster. We definitely took that into consideration. There probably wasn't another situation where we would have pushed the limits, but to get a Patrick Kane, you don't get an opportunity like that very often, Drury said at the time of the deal. The health of Kane's hip remains in question and could have some teams questioning whether or not they'd like him on their team. Now, Kane has gone on the record saying he is open to remaining in New York. "If I can feel better with this team and with this opportunity, I would love that chance," Kane told reporters. "I know they have young guys to sign and probably other priorities, but I don't have a bad thing to say about this organization and the situation. I thought it was an amazing experience for me. I know I'm turning 35 next year, but it's not like I feel old. I feel pretty young. I feel like the passion is still there. I still know that I can be a top player if my focus is solely on hockey instead of how I feel that day." Now, Rangers aside, there are rumors of a Buffalo homecoming that will always linger throughout the summer, but only time will tell where Patrick Kane ends up. Thanks for watching our videos. Don't forget to leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button.